hat gives confidence. When you put a hat on your head, you feel completely different. You have confidence. You don't care what anybody else is thinking. I have this on. I know it's a presentation out there in the world. Hats, well, it goes all the way back to my original business here in town on Market Street. For about 15, 20 years, I had an original design shop, and I designed clothing, and that went not only bridal, but streetwear, made winter coats with matching hats, you know, mink hats, beaver hat, and bags to match. And so I've been in this since 24 years old. I have been in this design business all my life.
For Pat Milchuck, that love for design actually started as a young girl when she and her older sister made hats and dresses for their younger sisters.
My first sewing machine was a Minnesota sewing machine that was treadle, and Mom knew I had, I guess, this in my blood, so she had the treadle taken off and electricity put to it, a motor put to it, and that was my very first sewing machine. It was my grandmother's from the old country.
In 1956, Pat earned a diploma from the National School of Dress Design in Chicago. She then went on to own and operate a clothing design and sewing shop on Main Street in Paxton for several years. After closing, that need for design was still there, so she got back into it again, this time focusing all of her energies on hats. Still located in Paxton, this time at the State Street Mall on Route 45, Simply Pat's Hats and Things is a one-woman operation.
And I have had the most wonderful time of my life with this. It's very fulfilling, and I'm still designing. And I'm 71, and I'm still in the business. And it gives me everything I need. I don't draw anything out. I never draw anything out. I just start shaping and seeing how, do I like that curve? Do I like that fold? And sometimes the findings and, a piece of fabric that I get says, oh, I can see it like this, or I use anything. I use old jewelry for trims, buttons. If they tell their own story, I'll use them on a hat, and from that little finding, the hat will be built around it as I see it in my own mind's eye.
Pat's tiny workshop is covered floor to ceiling with hat-making supplies and decorations. Using an ironing board as her workspace, she does all of her hand sewing work and shaping of wool hats using a process called blocking.
But it's a step. Everything is a step. It's wet, and you get the first shaping in. Then I add stiffener, just a little bit at a time, and see how stiff I want it. Some of them are real hard. This one is a softer shaping, and but the edges are very stiff.
When it's all finished, a hat like this one has taken Pat about 2 weeks to complete. And while most turn out the way she imagined them, some end up in the trash. For a little while, anyway.
I had it all done. I thought it was exactly what I had pictured in my mind, because everything's in my mind. I can see the finished product. I got it done, and I always try it on my head. I put it on, and I says, oh my gosh, this is so bad, there's nothing. So I threw it in a garbage can. I was so disgusted because I put hours of working on that. So it was in the garbage can. I came in the next morning, took it out of there, took the brim off, and restyled the whole thing. And it's an absolutely gorgeous hat now. But I have a very solid, dependable clientele that like dress hats. They know how to put them on and cock them on their head, and they know when it's their hat. I just finished a purple one Friday night, and I put it out on one of my hat forms here, and one of my regulars from Champaign came in, tried it on. She called me yesterday. She says, it's my hat. save it for me. So that's how it goes. But there's people that want a straw, a matching straw, bag and hat to just wear out to have fun. It just depends on the person and what they're looking for. I try to have something for everyone.
Not only does Pat create new hats, she also does restoration work too.
I just absolutely love, and I'll redo shapes, and they all have to be cleaned completely inside and out. New sweatbands put in, and then I redesign them, reshape them, and if there's any way to save that hat, I'm going to save it.
And while she didn't wear a hat for our interview, Pat is most definitely a hat wearer and is even better at picking out the right hat for the right person. At an age when most would consider slowing down and taking it easy, Pat has no plans to retire anytime soon.
No, I'll probably be making hats as they're trying to put the lid down. They'll probably have a row of pins or the big tacks in my mouth as I am being laid to rest. They better put a hat on my head when they put me 6 feet under.